Hi everyone, this is my final website. So my website was basically built around the concept of having a classroom website that could showcase what I've done in the classroom, my experience, as well as my internet tech savvy abilities. So this would be a template to use for the future classrooms that I'm going to have, as well as something to share with employers, future employers going through the interview process, just to give myself a pat on the back, kind of going through it. So I'm going to try not to scroll too fast, make anybody too dizzy, but I used Google Sites to create my website. So my URL is basically sites.google.com, and in the end I end up with History with Miss Young. So I will link all of that in the forum just to make it easier. So this is my homepage. All right, welcome to class. I do a nice little introduction, and I'm also using this part to have the big ticket reminders that I need students to think about. So this is a hypothetical unit quiz that they have to prepare for coming up, and they need to check out the resources page, subpage, current unit to go through all of the past material. This is also the first talking image or podcast that we made for class, and I'm also highlighting monthly newsletters. Oh, this one is November, and it is definitely not November anymore, but you kind of get the idea. This is a newsletter that I would have used with my student teaching experience. So this is a great way just to have it right out there, right off the bat, for families to see when they're coming straight to the website. So right after that, I've got resources, because that's what I think my students will use the most. Parents are probably going to go straight to contacting me, but families are going to use this a lot. So I put my students right there on top. I have a lot of buttons on my website that take you to sub pages on the website. So right off the bat for students, I have my outside links and sources for them to use, right, that we've gone through. I've also used my image, my edited image, to denote an extra credit option, which is another sub page. And I've also got my research project, our final project that I did on citing. So that is also down here on the bottom with the link and some extra sources. I will go through all of those soon. I also linked a calendar. So this would be my specific for the classroom calendar that would be updated through Google. And then we have our family section. So I have, again, the newsletter because I think that's going to be the most presented. I put a button where I would link the school website for news, upcoming news, anything that's going on in the district. Right now it's not functioning because I do not have a school for it to go to, but it is going to currently my homepage. And then I've embedded my Symbaloo 2 different ways. So this one is just a preview. It's not as nice, but it gives you an explanation. And then I also added the full web page so that parents and families can see that right off the bat, because I think that's who's going to look for it the most. So it is at the bottom of the page. Now, going through all of these, there's 2 ways. Oh, I also put my Google Classroom because I do have a Google Classroom set up that I could theoretically add on. Not that it will load quickly for my students, and a hypothetical code that goes with it. So students could find that whether or not they're using school Chromebooks and things. If they're logged in, it makes it easier for them to access. So all of these buttons go to subpages, which can also be found on the top. So for the current unit resources, I have listed out right off the bat a quick announcement, another podcast, telling students what I expect of them for the upcoming unit quiz that they have. And then going from most frequent in class to the oldest resources that we're using. So a couple videos that I used when I was teaching this particular subject, the mini lesson, right? The Animoto video that I created for a review. This is actually a PowerPoint that I used when talking about common sense in my student teaching experience. So this is actually a resource that I used in the classroom. And then the notes, the note packet that I created to go along with it for the students to work through. So that would be a great source for them to be able to pull up things we did. And there's also the entire note packet that we used at that time, so students would be able to go through if they were missing something and make sure they were caught up. Now, I also have for resources a collection of videos, tutorials. This is everything from how to properly cite your sources, which was my final project, to the podcasting we talked about in class, as well as some information about Blogger and the whiteboard awe. So those are all on there. That would probably be added to. I also have extra credit. So I really liked this. I didn't put a lot of images into it because I wanted it to be very straight to the point, just explaining what students could do for extra credit, which I think will follow through to my own grading in the future. So saying if they pick one thing to add in to complete, they'll get extra credit for their participation grade if they do a podcast. Or if they make a poster or a chart, they can get extra credit for their project grade. If maybe that quarter, their project, they'd gotten a poor grade, they can get some points added on for extra work. And also trying to tie in some of the new technologies that we're using, so using Kahoot, using virtual museum visits, and the podcast to try and get students involved that way. My contact me page, keep in touch, includes a couple different ways. So I put up email, Remind, which is a great app for reminding parents when events are happening, when projects are due, things like that. And I also have a Twitter for the classroom. So this actually is functioning, not that I'm posting anything on it, but I got the handle so that in the future my classroom can be safely shared through families that are requesting to follow. Of course, following the procedures and safety plan digitally for the school as well. And then I also did a Google form to contact me. So students, parents, anyone can put in their information to get in touch with me, so they don't have to email me if they're not sure, or this is simpler than having to explain everything. They just get to put in what they want. It's quick and to the point, and it goes directly to me. And then I have a record of, say, when they want to talk to me, how they'd like me to contact them, things like that. About the teacher. Yeah, I'm going to leave the site. It's right there. About the teacher, I used a lot of images. So I talked a bit about myself and linked, again, another button to take you back to the contact me page and my social media statement. So you might have noticed there are a lot of nature pictures, and I use my video, if any of you have watched. I love being outdoors, and I made every header a different nature scene, because while this is a professional source, I also want it to reflect myself. My teaching style reflects myself, so I think the website should also give a peek into who I am. My subpage on the media statement is right here. So it's embedded very quickly, so nobody has to download it. It is right there and visually appealing in one page for parents to find if they have any questions. I also made a page on what is happening in the classroom. So this one's a little skimpy. I do want to build up on this page, so it would be a long collection of what's going on. So right now it's only got a couple pictures of things that I've done in the classroom. I found out that I hadn't done as many taken as many pictures as maybe I should have, but that's what I would be planning for that page. And lastly, I have some information about the standards, the learning standards for students. So I've linked for parents information all of the New York State standards as well as the National Council of Social Studies curriculum standards, so they can get a peek at what we're actually doing, as well as the Common Core English, reading for social studies, reading for history standards as well. So those are all functioning links for families to go through, and then if they ever have any questions, they can easily contact me as well about that. So thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed.